Two men set out to cross America believing the open road could wash away the weight of old mistakes, but every mile pulled them deeper into a secret war of watchers and lies. A single envelope of forbidden photos shattered their calm, a hidden phone exposed the man they thought they knew, and a shadow network turned their love into a weapon. Motels became traps, strangers whispered their names, and every choice carried the taste of danger. He confessed to building the very system that hunted them, yet his touch still felt like the only safe place left. Together they crashed through games of surveillance and betrayal, exposing a quiet empire that feeds on fear while fighting to keep their own hearts alive. Trust burns, desire flares, and the line between protector and betrayer blurs with every breath they share. When the final knock echoes through their door, will they claim their love in the light or vanish into the dark that has followed them across every state? Luke and I had been on the road 9 days, eating at counters that smelled like syrup and gasoline, telling each other that motion could erase what we didn't want to carry. At night, we shared one pillow. His breath touched my neck, his hand paused on my ribs, and I thought, this is a map I can leave inside. The Clovis Motel looked like every other. Doors to the lot, a buzzy sign, a clerk who called us gentlemen. We dropped our bags. He fell across the bed. I showered and slid under the sheet. We didn't speak. The warmth through his t-shirt said enough. Morning shrank the room. I went for coffee. Back with 2 cups, I opened the nightstand, and looking for a notepad and found a plain envelope under the Bible. Treasure, I said. He propped on an elbow. Open it. I tore the flap. Photographs slid out. The first one took my air. Us in this bed last night, my face in his shoulder, his arm heavy over my chest. The second was closer, the third closer still, like a mouth hovering over a secret. Is this a joke? Luke asked, voice thin. I handed him the stack. He stopped talking at once, the room filled with the sound of my own pulse. I remembered telling my father at 20, the way he said, what you do in the dark is your business, and left the kitchen. I had spent 15 years proving sunlight loved me anyway. Now the dark had a timestamp. Pack, Luke said. 5 minutes from what? I asked. Who watches us sleep? He didn't answer. He moved. Shirts rolled tight. Chargers yanked. Toothbrush tossed. I checked the chain, the window, the bathroom like it could hide someone. My hands shook with recognition. Some people step into your softest hour and make it hard. At the front desk, I meant to complain. The clerk smiled. Checking out early. Change of plans, Luke said. I followed him into the light. We drove without music. The envelope sat in my lap like a warm stone. 20 miles passed before I said, think they followed us from Amarillo. Some people test locks, Luke said. Well, change the locks. At a gas station, I tried to throw the photos away. My hand refused. Proof that last night was real. Proof that someone else thought so, too. Back in the car, Luke buckled my seat belt because my fingers wouldn't. His breath brushed my jaw. For a second I believed we could outrun it. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. A photo arrived, the back of our car leaving the motel, time-stamped 5 minutes earlier. Beneath it, we see you. Something folded inside me, neat as a shirt. They are watching us, I said. Luke checked mirrors and laughed once without humor. Let them watch us drive away. We took the on-ramp like a dare. The envelope warmed my leg. The interstate unspooled like a promise I wasn't sure I believed. 10 minutes later, another text. Luke's profile at the wheel, shot from inches away. I looked left, right, behind. A black SUV held 3 lengths back like patience. Did you see who? He asked. No, I said, but they are close. He nodded. We keep moving. We stay together. I slid my fingers between his. The contact steadied me. Then the SUV tucked in behind us so smoothly it felt practiced. My phone buzzed again. The message was clean. Pull over at exit 278. I read it out loud. Luke's mouth went hard. Don't, I said. Not yet, he answered. We passed the exit. The phone rattled against my thigh. I muted it. The road offered no instructions. The map of my life redrew itself around Luke's hand in mine, and the new line ran straight through us. I believed travel would make us simpler, were Americans crossing states until our edges matched. Instead, I felt small, like a name whispered in a crowded room. I squeezed his hand. Hey, Luke said. I'm here, I know, I said, though part of me was learning what it means to be seen by someone who doesn't love us. That part was counting exits and memorizing the weight of his shoulder under my palm. We didn't stop until billboards promised normal. Luke took the next exit and parked at a diner with chrome that threw our faces back. The black SUV rolled past like a thought we didn't want, then disappeared. Inside, coffee and hot bread. We chose a booth with sightlines to the door and the lot. The waitress called me honey, him baby. Luke kept his palm on the table where my knuckles could find it. "We should change the plates," he said. I tried to joke, "and our names, if you want." He didn't smile. "Staying loud makes us easy." When she left, he leaned in. His breath touched my ear. "Well, by a prepaid, toss the old phones, take back roads, daylight only. We sleep where someone can hear if we shout. Who are we shouting for? Each other," he said, and there was a steady tremor in him I trusted more than any promise. A sugar packet had a pen mark, a small circle. On the back, in faint pencil, "Nice drive, boys." The window felt thinner. I slid the packet to him. He read, folded it, tucked it under the salt like a stone on a grave. "We keep eating," he said. "We keep being." We chewed in silence. When the check came, money that wasted hours already sat on the table. Beneath it another note. "Tips are for good service. Keep driving." We left the money in the car. Luke handed me the keys. "Your turn," he said. "I need to watch." I drove. He scanned mirrors and overpasses. 10 miles out, he said. "Tell me again how we met." "Now anchor me," he said, and I did. "Last winter my tire blew outside a market. He was there in a jacket, and he fixed it. I offered to pay." He shook his head. "Just pay me with a story." "What kind?" "The kind you're scared to say out loud." I told him about growing up where men were supposed to be instructions, not questions. He looked at me like a question worth asking. His hand stopped on my shoulder, blade like a ledge. Weeks later, first contact became more than words. We sat on a curb after a movie and admitted the things men like us keep folded. He said, "I've been waiting for someone to say it first." The warmth through his shirt when our shoulders touched felt like light behind a doorframe. When he finally kissed me, it was careful, like opening that door without waking the house. The memory steadied us as the road braided into smaller roads. We bought a prepaid in a strip mall, then 2 more because fear multiplies. We dropped our old phones in a donation bin because throwing them away felt like something a scared man would do. We were scared, we were also proud. Back in the car, I set the new phone between us like a fresh promise. Luke squeezed my thigh once. "No more answering unknowns," he said. "And if they keep writing on sugar, then we keep stirring without reading." We practiced staying ordinary. Gas, bathrooms, a radio station with old songs. At a rest area, I washed my face and told myself the mirror could hold me. When I stepped out, a man in a polo brushed past and slipped something into my jacket pocket. I froze. Luke reached me before the fear crested. He opened the folded slip and exhaled. "Blank," he said. "They want us to write back. We didn't." We drove into late afternoon. Luke said, "When this ends, let's not pretend we can forget." I said, "But I want the part where your hand finds my ribs to be the loudest memory. It will be if we live like we mean it." We found a place to sleep where the lot had cams, and the clerk copied our IDs without asking. In the room, we didn't undress, just lay on top of the covers like 2 men catching breath after a run. His breath warmed my temple. My hand hovered at his ribs and stayed, a pledge without a ring. "Tomorrow," he whispered, "we make our own text." I stared at the ceiling until the dark stopped moving. Beyond the wall, a television laughed. I tried to believe the world was still that simple. I tried to believe we were too. We left the TV murmuring in the next room like a neighbor who didn't want trouble. Luke slept in his sneakers. I lay beside him counting the seconds between the hum of the ice machine and the air conditioner's click, telling myself that rhythm was safety. It worked until 3 in the morning when a vibration rolled across the bed. Not a phone, the wall. I sat up. Luke opened his eyes, already awake in the way a person is after too many small alarms. "You hear that?" I whispered. "Someone wants us to," he said. We waited. A knock came, soft as breath. 1 rap, then another. I stood and faced the door. The peephole was blacked out, a length of tape. My throat tightened. Luke pulled me back with 2 fingers on my wrist. "Don't," he said. "They want eyes." A slip of paper snaked under the door. I stared until letters formed. Room service. Beneath it, "We like your pictures. Stay with me," Luke murmured. We didn't open. The hall stayed quiet. I lay down again and felt his hand find my ribs. 1 measured touch, permission to keep breathing. He whispered a small story about us fixing a tire, about paying with the truth. The words steadied my pulse. Near dawn, sleep stole a few minutes. When I woke, the paper was gone. Tape 2, the door looked untouched. He drove, and I watched the world the way you watch a room after the guests have left, listening for what stayed behind. We took state roads and bought caps and different sunglasses. By noon we stopped at a self-wash. "Soap it," Luke said. "Make us new." I sprayed, foam lifting old dust, while a man 2 bays over whistled a tune I knew from childhood Sundays. He glanced at us, then at our plates. He didn't smile. Luke stepped close, low voice. We do this together. If he moves, you hold the sprayer and look bored. What if he talks? Then we're two guys with places to be. The man bought a towel and returned, whistling again. My heartbeat hammered. The rinse arced from my hands to the hood, rainbowing the air. Luke reached to steady the nozzle, his palm covered mine, and warmth traveled up my arm. The sound around us fell away. Water hissed and pooled at our feet. He didn't look at my mouth. He didn't need to. We stood hip to hip behind a curtain of spray, his thumb pressed where my hand met the handle. Breathe, he said. I said, though it came out thin, again. I did. The air tasted like metal and soap. For a moment the whole country tightened to a small bright circle where skin met skin, fear waiting just outside it. The man with the towel finished and left. Luke turned the nozzle off, and silence arrived with weight. We can't keep giving them our fear, he said. What do we give each other then? Proof. He wiped a line on the windshield with his sleeve. Tonight we pick our own room, we leave our phones in the car, we talk like men who are not being directed, and if they are outside, let them be the ones listening. We drove to a town with a mural of a train that never ran there. The motel had doors that faced a courtyard and a night clerk with a crossword. We paid cash for a room with 2 lamps and an old bedspread. Luke set the chain and slid the dresser in front of the door by reflex. We make our own text, he said, echoing the promise from the previous night, and the echo steadied me. We didn't undress past our shirts. We sat cross-legged with our knees touching, not kissing, not rushing. He asked me for a memory I had never told anyone. I gave him one, my father teaching me to throw a ball and telling me to square my shoulders to the world. I tried, I said, am still trying. Luke reached and squared them with his hands, slow, careful. Warmth came through his shirt into my palms. My head bowed to his shoulder like a moth to a porch light. What do you want from this trip? He asked us without hiding. Okay, he whispered, then look at me. I lifted my head. His eyes were tired and alive. He didn't kiss me. He let his forehead rest against mine. His voice was almost nothing. We're here? My hand slid from his shoulder to his ribs and stopped there. He exhaled into my mouth without a kiss, and my whole body learned a new language in that breath. Slowly, like men building a bridge plank by plank, we lay back. His fingers found the hem of my shirt and held, asking. I nodded. Warmth moved under the cotton like a quiet animal. He whispered, okay, and I said yes, and the yes felt like leaving a locked room. Later, we lay awake listening to the ceiling fan count time. No phones, no knocking, just 2 men returning to themselves. I fell asleep with his hand over my heart, like a light you don't switch off because you finally want to see. Morning felt merciful, coffee too hot, a clerk spelling my name wrong, a sky that didn't care. We loaded the car. 3 hours north, Luke said, then west. At noon we ducked into a laundromat to wash everything. Dryers thumped like rain. His duffel sat open on the folding table. A phone I'd never seen lay face down on a t-shirt. The screen woke, a banner slid across, we see you, then exit 270, 8 tonight, smaller, good driving, Luke. He returned, saw the glow and didn't reach. I can't explain. Start with why you have a secret phone. It's not what you think, it's exactly what I think. He exhaled. Before you, I worked security for men who buy silence. I helped build a tool that watches motel cams, traffic feeds, private networks. I left. They didn't. I kept a back door to check misuse. When we started traveling, I looked at Amarillo, then Clovis. I thought I was keeping us safe. They caught me looking. Now they're playing. You watched us sleep. I watched you breathe, he said. And they watched me watch you. The envelope, the notes, was that you? No, he said quickly. After Clovis, nothing came from me. I picked up the phone. An app with no name showed a grid and a dot over highway. A still frame cued. Last night's headboard, my shoulder under his arm. Heat crawled up my neck. You don't get to hold me and hurt me with the same hand, I said. I know. He looked older. Fear taught me control. I haven't unlearned it. Who are they? They call themselves the custodians, men who like to feel necessary. They don't break laws, they bend rooms. I set the phone down like it might burn the table. You brought them to us. I brought my past, he said. They followed. I stepped outside and counted to 20. When I turned back, 2 men stood at the glass near Luke, not facing him, just close enough to be a choice. One tapped the window, then drifted to the change machine. I went in. Police? They deliver coffee to police, Luke said. They don't leave fingerprints, they leave suggestions. What do we do? He put the phone in my palm. You decide, smash it and we go blind, keep it and use their sight to lose them, or hand it back and walk. I saw two futures, one where I crushed it and told him to find his own shadows, another where we left together and my trust limped. Answer once without steering me, I said. Do you want me or proof you, he said, eyes wet, even if you never forgive me. The men pocketed quarters and left, satisfied to have tuned us like a radio. I slid the phone back to Luke. Well, use it tonight, I said. One more lie and I'm gone. He nodded. Yes. We folded shirts in silence. As we carried them out, a new message blinked. Tonight, a game. Rest. You'll need it. I held the power button until the screen went dark. On the road, we acted like roads were neutral. Luke kept both hands at 10 and 2. I watched fences and wondered if love can live without privacy. He said, "I'll fix what I broke." You can't, I said, but you can stop breaking. For a mile the only sound was tire hum and something between us sealing, not healed, just closed. My ribs ached where his hand had rested the night before. I pressed my palm there and felt warm through cotton, a signal the custodians couldn't calibrate. The day stayed ordinary, our story didn't. Ahead, the game waited with rules we hadn't written. Beside me sat the man who loved me and betrayed me in the same motion. I stayed because leaving while trap set felt like gifting them the ending, and because I still believed in the blown tire and first kiss. If chaos was coming, I wanted my eyes open. Luke reached toward radio, hesitated, and returned his hand to the wheel. Let silence say what I refused to. I was here, but not unbroken. We drove into afternoon, 2 Americans and a shadow named for cleanliness, waiting to see which of us would blink first. We reached exit 270, 8 at dusk because skipping it meant they wrote the next page. Luke parked off-ramp, engine off, hands on his knees. We can leave, he said. They'll pick another exit, I answered. We finish what they started. A note waited under the wiper, a blue chest knight and address. Park normal, walk in. The address was a dead bowling alley with one humming snack sign. Inside, lanes slept. A voice came through the speakers, neighborly and smug. Boys, lane 7, ball return. I reached in and found a key on a red tag. Behind the desk, a cheap phone rang. I answered on speaker. Locker outside, the voice said. Inside, a shirt in a pouch. Put the shirt on. Take the pouch to the corner store on Fremont. Tell the clerk, tips are for good service. Try police and the police get photos you want like. Luke touched my wrist. We walk, he said. The locker held a white button. Down in a small pouch. The shirt felt like a costume. We didn't open the pouch. At the store, the clerk's tag said Ian. He flicked his eyes to the shirt, then to Luke. Stockroom, he murmured. He swapped our pouch for an envelope and whispered, "I'm not with them. I just hate trouble." Outside, the envelope held 2 Polaroids. First, Luke younger in a security jacket by a wall of monitors. On the back, we like men who learn. Second, me in the white shirt on that bench, shot from above. The paper felt warm. Enough, Luke said. We go. Back at the car, our old phones waited on my seat like returned pets. The secret phone lay on top, somehow on. A message opened, nice work, now drive to 14th and King. We went because sometimes courage is continuing. 14th and King was a parking garage by a hospital. Level 3, Space 47, another text said. A cooler waited. Inside, ice packs, water, a pocket recorder. Luke pressed play. Our private whispers filled the car-high's breath at my ear. My yes like a key turning. I flinched. "I'm sorry," he said. "I thought I could watch the watchers." And Siuv rolled in and parked nose to nose. A man in khakis stepped out, early 50s. "Afternoon," he said. "I'm here to collect the cooler." "You're a custodian," Luke said. "There's no club," he replied. "Just men who prefer predictable edges." "Why us?" I asked. You looked like a story that wanted structure. He reached. Luke blocked him. "Not tonight." The man studied him. Square shoulders, good. "This ends faster that way. Choice time. Leave town and keep your romance tidy, or chase chaos and we keep showing mirrors. Involve law and we complicate law. We're very good at paperwork." He lifted the cooler and turned away. We let him go. Luke set his palms on my cheeks until I met his eyes. "I choose you," he said. "Not tidy, you." "Then we stop letting them stage us," I said. "We do what they can't predict." We walked into the hospital, not to report, just to sit in the chapel. Fluorescent and empty. I told a blank ceiling the only prayer I know. Let the soft parts stay soft. Luke squeezed my knee. No one came. Back outside, a new envelope rode our wiper. My name was written in my father's careful hand. Inside, a photo of his kitchen 15 years ago him at the sink. Me at the table, shot by nobody we invited. Back we see first. I folded it like a relic. Luke saw my face and nodded. "I'm here for the learning and the burn." "New rules," I said. We went back to Ian. I set the envelope on his counter. We're done playing, not hiding. He checked the door, leaned in. Good, they hate improvisation. Their guide tonight brings a cooler to the old fairgrounds at 9. He walks the same path. He only looks left. "What's his name?" Luke asked. "No names," Ian said, "just light." At 9 we joined families near a cover band. The principal man appeared, cooler in hand. He looked left, we moved right. Luke took the cooler from his fingers with a smile that said, "I can be the instruction if I decide." "Hey," Luke said softly, "look at me." For 1 second the man saw an opponent, not a subject. He let go. We lifted the lid and raised the recorder to the stage lights so everyone could see a small machine that steals breath. No speech, just exposure. Attention tilted, the principal receded into shadow. We didn't chase him. The band stumbled. "What is that?" someone asked. We were walking. At the car, Luke leaned his forehead to mine. We made noise. "Yeah," I said. "Now Thale makes something worse." The secret phone we had left off in the glove box lit itself anyway. Screen waking. A new text appeared without a number. "Federal interest initiated. See you soon." The ground tilted. Luke reached for my hand and missed, then found it. Warmth moved across our grip. "We keep moving," he said. "We also stop running," I said. Both at once. "Okay." We drove into night, not prey, not hunters. Woe, Americans choosing each other with no tidy exits. Behind us, paperwork unfolded. Ahead, the map refused to be final. I pressed his knuckles to my ribs and let warmth speak. We were not finished. More by morning, the secret phone refused to stay off. It woke itself, showing a single pin over a federal building downtown with a caption, "Bring the cooler and your story." Elevator, no reporting. "We don't have the cooler," I said. "We have us," Luke answered. He had kept the pocket recorder, empty now, a shell. We parked 3 blocks away and walked like men with business. Elevator opened without a button. On 7, a man in a plain suit waited. "No badge?" He gestured to a conference room. "Phone's in the tray," he said. "Then sit." Luke placed the secret phone as if setting down a bird that might bolt. I set the recorder beside it. "You made noise at the fairgrounds," he said. "We showed a machine," I answered. He nodded. "You also showed me an opening. The people you're dealing with prefer closed circles. I draw lines through circles." "Are you with them?" Luke asked. "I'm with paperwork," he said, which felt true. He slid a folder across the table. Inside, stills of us at the bowling alley, the garage, the chapel. "My father's kitchen, too. They keep trophies," he said. "We keep patterns." "I'm not a pattern," I said. "Everyone is until they aren't." He placed a form in front of me. Statement. "I can protect you if you cooperate quietly." Luke's jaw worked. "And if we don't, then your enemies keep their toys and I keep my calendar." I looked at Luke. He looked at me like a man at a shoreline ready to step, unsure of the drop. He spoke first. "I built the door they walked through," he told the man. "I thought I could watch and stop the worst hands. I kept the door after I met him because fear dresses like responsibility. I hurt him by guarding what I should have trusted." He faced me. "I chose control over faith. I'm done choosing that." Heat rose in my face. Part of me kept waiting to be betrayed. I said, "I was taught men leave. I wrote you into an exit before you made one." "I'm still here," he said. "I know," I said, and it was true and not enough. The man tapped the folder. "If I take one principal, another replaces him. If you want this to end, you have to hold the light and refuse to blink." "How?" I asked. "Speak on record. Then choose public or sealed and accept the cost." I took the pen. Words came like water after a drought. Names, dates, places, the envelope under the Bible, the sugar packet, the nights my heart counted under his palm. I kept our intimacy as suggestion, not spectacle. I wrote that I wanted my father's kitchen to be just a kitchen again. When I finished, my hand shook. Luke signed his own statement. The man gathered the pages. "This will move hands," he said. "That sounds like hope," I said. "It sounds like process." We rode down lighter and afraid. The lobby guard jogged after us with the secret phone I had forgotten in the tray. As he lifted it, the screen showed a live view of the lobby from above, our faces framed by a caption that scrolled like graffiti. "Paperwork is a hobby. We do habits." The guard shivered. "Weird ad," he muttered. 2 blocks later, a sedan eased to the curb. A stranger stepped out using my father's voice. "Son," he said, "my body forgot how to be in public." He waved my father a hired throat. "Come with us and this ends," he said. "Men like you need quiet." Luke moved between us. "No." 2 more men opened the rear door. "No weapons." just Posturian invitation designed to look inevitable. Luke took the secret phone from my pocket, turned it toward his face, and spoke to whatever watched. "I resign," he said, "not from a job from your idea of men. We're not your program." He dropped the phone and stepped on it. The screen cracked, light spilling. The men flinched, not at the break, but at the refusal of the script. I took Luke's jaw in my hand and said for the street, "I love you and am not leaving." The words were a flare. A crowd noticed. The sedan retreated, door closing soft like embarrassment. Rain began, the kind that blurs. We escalated, Luke said, shaking. "We also chose," I said. "I choose you again, not tidy. True." He rested his forehead to mine like night one. Warmth moved through cotton. A siren sounded a block away, indifferent and kind. We walked slowly, Ock. "They'll come back with a new game," he said. "Then we stop being players," I answered. "We keep saying yes out loud. We tell the truth when it's hard. Tonight no motels with taped peepholes." He said, "Tonight a place with windows and names." We crossed against the light, then like men who would rather apologize than be directed. A vendor laughed at nothing. The city carried on. Behind us, the cracked phone buzzed once more and died. Ahead, a map without tidy exits waited, and for the first time I felt my chest ease not empty, shared. "I'm here," he said, the same words as the first day, and this time they sounded like a door opening without manuals, only hands. We rented a month cup with thin walls and honest light. The lease had both our names. We bought plates that didn't match and a plant we named after. Nights his breath touched my neck, and I learned how peace humps, quiet, constant, one decision from silence. We worked small jobs and waited for the folder we'd signed to become more than paper. Weeks passed like careful steps across an old bridge. Some mornings my hand found my ribs, checking the warmth was still there. A letter came with no return. Inside, a photocopy of my father's kitchen, blurred, typed below, "We prefer habits. You chose rituals." The difference felt like oxygen. I slid the copy under after and watered the plant until its leaves shone. "Victory lap?" Luke asked. "Both," I said. "We kept making our own text. We told neighbors we were cousins because it was easier. We told each other we were done apologizing. At night I wrote lists. Ways the world touches soft men, ways soft men hold anyway. I added, leave the blinds open." He added, lock the door. Late September, our old radio crackled without being on. A voice in the static said, almost gentle, paperwork moves slowly, people move faster, then silence. We waited. I started sleeping without shoes by the bed. Luke stopped checking the hallway twice. Peace, like a shy animal, crawled closer and rested its head on our knees. Rain tapped the window one night. We lay on the couch in our shirts, the teeth murmuring. He set my hand over his ribs. "We're here," he said. A shadow paused under the streetlight, then kept walking. I thought of the first envelope under a motel Bible and the last statement in a federal tray. Our lives were both. When the knock came, it didn't sound like a threat. 3 gentle taps. "Ready?" I asked. "With you," he said. No tape on the peephole, just a paper bag on the mat. Inside, a small, battered recorder and a card in my father's hand. "I am learning." I set the bag on the table like a new heartbeat. Luke pressed play. Static, then our voices from months ago. His careful breath at my ear, my yes like a lock turning. After that, a click and my father's real voice, rough with age. "Let the soft parts stay soft." We didn't speak. The rain thickened. The recorder kept running, catching only 2 men breathing. The fan, the city. No instructions. No chess piece, just proof you can't turn back into silence. We sat on the floor. He leaned his forehead to mine. After's leaf touched my wrist. "Is this an ending?" he whispered. "It's a room," I said. "We decide what happens in it." We stayed until the recorder died. In the dark after, I could still hear his breath on my neck, a metronome that taught me another life. When I stood to turn out the lights, the hallway held a hush. Outside, the city kept moving. 2 Americans kept choosing. Between those facts lived a space with no tidy exits and no orders us, and sound learning gentle more.